Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
All right, guys. So welcome to this training on AWS Tech Essentials. My name is Muhammad Amanullah, and I'll be your instructor for this course. And my credentials, I am sort of 14-year experience into industry as working as a technical architect in a fintech company. And I have experience with AWS for almost 6 years now. I hold multiple certifications on AWS like solution architect and dev certification. And then I'm also one of the authorized instructors for AWS. So that's a little brief introduction from my side. If you guys can just sort of have a brief intro about yourself, then we can sort of get started on this. A little intro. What I'm interested to know is what your experience and what is your expectation out of this course. What's your experience in AWS? Just a little bit of that.
Sure. Hi, Neha here.
Yeah.
I'm audible, right?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. I actually work as a QA in Illusion, and right now we are actually going to develop a product. It's a content management product, which will be basically based on cloud. So for that, I would like to have some intro on this so that we can get started with that particular product. Hello.
Hi, this is Anindita. I work at Illusion as a senior developer. So our app is hosted in AWS, but so I just wanted to learn more about it. And I haven't worked on AWS ever before. So this is the first time I'm looking at it. And I have an experience of around 8 years. Thank you.
Hello, Mohammed. I'm unable to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I went on mute unknowingly. So yeah. So this course will be. I was just giving some introduction about this. So this course is supposed to give you some first-hand experience on AWS services, and you will sort of get the hands-on experience on some of the services of AWS. So some logistics we don't have. We can skip about this. We will have a couple of breaks. In fact, we will have 3 breaks altogether. So you don't have to worry about that, and you may not have to scribble everything. You will be provided some student manual guides, and you will also go through some hands-on labs part of this course. Okay. So let me put some context on the course objectives. So this course is supposed to give you some basic experience to the terminologies and concepts of AWS platform, and helps you to navigate across the management console. And it also gives you a first-hand experience on some of the foundational services like EC2, S3, VPC, and etc. So some of the networking concepts as well. So this will also give you some experience on the security measures, what AWS applications has to be provided using identity and access management services. And also you will be exposed to database services in AWS and what are the different offerings of databases in the AWS. And lastly, we will look at some of the management tools in the AWS environment. What are some management tools using which you can make your application monitoring things easier, right? So this will be the high level objective of the course, and I'll sort of explain you the layout of this course. So this course is laid out in these 7 modules altogether. In the first module, we will talk about introduction and history at a high level, and then we will have some foundational services, as I told you, EC2, VPC, S3, and EBS. And then we will, in the third module, we will talk about security and access management. In fourth, we will talk about databases and different offerings what AWS provide. In fifth, we will talk about AWS elasticity and some management tools. And then we will have 3 labs. If you see, there is 1 lab after second module, there is 1 lab in fourth module, and then there is 1 lab in fifth module. And then lastly, we will have a course wrap up and some course indices. So these are some, this is the high level layout of the course in which we will be navigating. So this slide is ended. Let me start the first module. And all right, so this module will talk about the history and fundamental elements of AWS, and also shows you how to navigate through Management Console. What Management Console is, it's a graphical tool to access AWS environment, and AWS can also be accessed by using command line interface and some SDKs, where your applications, where your programs which are written in languages like Python, Java, C++, anything. So they can talk to AWS environment using AWS SDK, right? So this module will give you some high-level information on the global infrastructure what AWS provides across the globe, and what are the different ways of deploying on AWS. So in this module, you will also be understanding some history of AWS. You will understand the AWS global infrastructure, and you will be able to navigate through Management Console. So that will be the objective of this module. All right. So if you talk about the AWS Amazon's history, it was started in 1994, and in 95 it became a bookstore. Amazon.com was named as one of the American e-commerce company, which was headquartered in Seattle, Washington, and that is one of the largest online retailer as of today. Amazon continued to grow, and it officially launched AWS in year 2006. So this is where I'll not talk about all the entire history, but this is what is of our interest. AWS was launched in year 2006. So it has more than a decade of experience. If you talk about its experience in the cloud cloud domain, it has over a decade of experience. And with that experience, they have built a highly scalable and highly scalable application for Amazon.com. So then they realized that apart from being a reseller, apart from being an online retailer, they had developed a good amount of competency in managing massive scale of infrastructure and data centers. So with that experience, they started on a broader mission to start a new customer segment, which is on the cloud. And they started offering their infrastructure for the end user, for the external users, as web services. So using those web services, you can create your own infrastructure. So that's the experience what AWS carries. So with that experience, they have sort of built a huge expertise on managing the infrastructure. So today AWS is one of the fastest growing multi-billion-dollar company, and we know about that. Okay. So if you talk about what AWS is, AWS enables businesses and developers to use Amazon's web services to build scalable, sophisticated applications on the cloud. So AWS will provide you services like storage, development and management tools, compute, content delivery, database, networking, etc. They are huge amount of services which are at your offerings, and you can use those services at the cost of which you are using, basically as per pay per use sort of model. And yeah, so that's the sort of high level vision of what AWS is. It enables businesses to use their infrastructure. So AWS, if you see the innovation, the pace at which innovation is happening is tremendous. So that there are different services for different usages. You have services for computation, technology, database, networking. Other than that, you have for analytics and machine learning. If you are someone who is interested in applications on data science, you have offerings there. If you are someone who is interested in Internet of Things, you have services there. Security, hybrid applications, mobile applications, there are a number of features which are getting added. So the amount of innovation is also tremendous. If you look at the graph here in 2011, there were 82 services and features which were part of this AWS environment. And if you see it in the year 2017, it is 1430 services and features part of this. Okay. And this is the exact, I mean, at a high level count, the total number of new services and features, which is as of March 2018, because this is when this course has been designed. So they are different. If you may just get overwhelmed at this image, looking at different services, and you may like assume I may have to remember all these things or understand everything. So it is not like that. So you will understand at a high level how these services are categorized. So that category is categorization is something which we have to take from this course. All right. So who are AWS customers? AWS customers are we have enterprise customers where AWS can help the enterprise increase their innovation by providing some scalable and agile environment. So AWS can help companies increase their innovation and agility and resilience, and also at a very reduced cost. You don't have to pay a huge amount of infrastructure cost for starting an enterprise. With AWS, you can build enterprise cloud applications, which can quickly scale without having big upfront investments. So AWS provides services for public sector company as well as there are a lot of startups which start on AWS, where you have an idea and you have a basic proof of concept to be released, and you do that, and as you grow and as you have a stability in your company, you will control your application and the infrastructure cost as well. So it offers you free to start. AWS gives startup companies an environment where they are starting at a zero cost, and they pay as they grow. Okay, so that's the beauty of using cloud, and specifically AWS. So what are the advantages and benefits of using AWS cloud computing? For that sake, this is common for I mean, this is something which you have to consider. What will be the benefits of using AWS cloud? So you start at a very low cost. Okay, basically AWS provides a startup tier which can be A startup tier or free tier can give you some basic services which are available for free, which you can use at a at some quantity, and as you grow, you will basically pay as you grow. So that with that model, you will have little capital expenditure, okay, and you will have a huge speed and agility. You will increase in the speed and agility. Reason being, you can start up any sort of infrastructure within few minutes, and you can build your applications. If you are not satisfied with that, you can discard it. Then you can start again the infrastructure. So with that, you will get a very agile model, and you will also benefit from massive economies of scale, because you will have the scaling is at a tip of your button. At the single click, you can scale your application to start in one place and deploy it in multiple locations across the globe. And you will not have to spend money on the running and maintaining data centers, because you are eliminated from that need of having data centers created and maintained by you, because AWS provides you a good amount of infrastructure, and you are not supposed to invest even a single rupee on your infrastructure. And then you don't have to guess your capacities as well, because let's assume you are starting an application for 20 users. You may start your application and infrastructure only for that limited amount of users. You may not have to build your application for 100 users and serve only 20 customers. Reason being, you are in cloud and you can always scale your application. So you have to stop your guessing things, okay? And you can basically focus on the capacity what you need. So you stop guessing your capacity, and you can go global in minutes, because the AWS global infrastructure is spread across the globe, and it's a matter of few clicks where you can deploy your application in any part of the globe, and let the consumers use your applications across the globe. Right. If you talk about AWS, in terms of the domain, it's marked as the leader in cloud infrastructure as a service. AWS is positioned as a leader in Gartner's Quadrant, and it is one of the highest rated services in the leaders quadrant. There are some leaders other than that. But then AWS has its own nicheness and its own what do you say, leading the leaders quadrant. It is leading in the leaders quadrant. Right. So if you talk about the core infrastructure and services in the AWS, how do you translate your data center requirements or your traditional IT requirements to AWS? This is how you translate that. The security layer, if you talk about, then there is this firewalls. For a firewall, we will have something called as security groups in the AWS. For ACLs, we have something called as network ACLs, and for administrative and all the access for administrators, we have something called as AWS IAM, Identity Access Management. On the networking front, when you have routers, AWS provides a solution for using load balancing and Amazon VPC for all your networking solutions. We have a solution in the AWS. On servers, if you talk about on-premise service servers, AWS will give you something called as AMI, Amazon Machine Image. Using those images, you can create EC2 instances. EC2 instances are similar to your traditional virtual machines. So EC2 instances can be can replace your on-premise servers of any capacity of any size. So that's something what you can get on AWS. And then if you consider the storage and databases, we have different services on AWS for RDBMS or SAN, NAS sort of requirements. We have EBS as block storage, EFS as elastic file storage, S3, which is standard storage, and RDS. RDS is your database services on Amazon. So there are different offerings from AWS which can help you translate any sort of traditional infrastructure to AWS, right? So this is similar to very much similar to your traditional IT space. And here is a side-by-side comparison. So AWS provides a simple way to access servers, storages, databases, and different application services over the internet. All these services are owned by AWS, and AWS maintains the hardware required for these application services. You only provision them and use them as per your usage. And if you look at this image, you have these many services on your offerings. So at a high level, if you look at this diagram, so looking at this, you may be a little overwhelmed that there are these many services that you may have to remember, but you don't have to basically remember this. So these foundational services are sort of categorized, and this category, if you have just idea of that, that will be sufficient. So the categorization, if you look at this, there's on the compute, we have these many services. Compute is simply to provide some computational capacity. We have EC2, container registry, container service, etc. Let me not go across all these things. Then on the network front, you have Amazon CloudFront, Route 53, VPC, Direct Connect, load balancing. So using these services, you can provide any sort of networking requirements can be satisfied. On storage, there are these many services: EFS, S3, S3 Glacier, Snowball, etc. And then on security and identity, we have Amazon Instructor, AWS Certified Manager, IAM, KMS. Let me not talk about all those things. And on applications, if you talk about application as a service, there are some services for you to use: WorkDocs, WorkMail, AppStream, Workspace, etc. So this is foundational services, and on the platform, if you talk about on the platform where Amazon provides as a PaaS service, platform as a service. So we have databases, these many offerings, DynamoDB, Elasticache, RDS again integrates with multiple databases. We'll talk about that. Redshift is something which you use for data warehousing sort of applications. On analytics, we have some offerings. On application services, we have some offerings. We will talk about few of this here in our course. On management tools, we have some offerings. Then as a developer, if you are using AWS, then you have these services like CodeBuild, CodeCommit, CodeDeploy. This will help developers build applications and release it on AWS. And for mobile application services, we have some services. And on Internet of Things, we have some services. And then the global infrastructure of AWS is spread across geography. It has multiple availability zones. So there are two terminologies what you have to remember from this. One is region, one is availability zone. Region is something which is at a geographic location. It will consist of multiple availability zones. A region will have more than one availability zone, and region is on a geographic location. Like it may talk about any specific location. Like in the US, there are regions, and in India we have Mumbai as one region. All right. So a region will consist at least two availability zones. And what is an availability zone? Availability zone is a cluster of data centers. It will have one or more data centers in an availability zone, and each data center will be isolated from failures, and each availability zone is isolated from failures in other availability zone. So let's assume that if you have a failure in one availability zone, in short I can call it as AZ, they refer it as AC. So if there is a failure in one AZ, that failure will not impact the other AZs. So it has to isolate from failures in other availability zones. So that's how this is engineered to be isolated. And this is the high level view of global infrastructure map. So these circles, orange circles, indicates the region, and the number in that indicates the number of availability zones in that region. So here in the west, we have 3 different regions, and in each region there are 3 availability zones. And on the east, there are 4 regions, and in each of that region you have that number of availability zones. That's what we have to understand from this. In India, there is 1 region in Mumbai, and there are 2 availability zones in that region. So this is how it is spread across, and the green dots, what this shows here, they are the planned regions which will come in future. One is in the South Africa as well. You don't have to memorize anything of this, any of this information. This is available at your disposal anytime on the documentation. So AWS Global Infrastructure regions will have at least 2 AGs per region. And each region is separate geographic area which has multiple locations isolated from each other. That is availability zones. Each availability zone is isolated, and they are connected through low latency links. When any natural disaster happens, AWS isolates the availability zone so that they do not affect the other availability zone. When there is an example, for example, when there is an earthquake or maybe some other catastrophe, AWS will not build 2 availability zones in the same fault line. So no 2 AGs are at the same fault line. And if you launch an instance, you can select an availability zone, or AWS will choose it for you. If you want to distribute your applications, you have to make sure that you distribute across multiple AGs, so that you have a fault tolerance in your applications. We will talk about that in our coming discussions. So high availability has to be achieved using multi-AZ deployments. AWS highly recommends that you provision your resources across multiple AZs. If you have multiple instances, you can run them across more than 1 AZ. So you get a redundancy, you get fault tolerance. If any availability has a problem, your assets in the other availability zone will not be affected. I hope this makes sense. If this is sort of sounding, if you have any questions, you can stop me at any point in time. Let's not wait till I conclude the discussion on this slide and then ask questions. At any given point in time, if you have any questions, you can stop me. Other than the locations and regions and availability zone, what we spoke about, there is something called edge locations in AWS. And edge locations will provide only these many services, like you have only Route 53, CloudFront, Web Application Firewall, and Shield, AWS Shield. Only these 4 applications, and these applications are basically used for making your latency slow. So Route 53 is nothing but your DNS services from Amazon. It provides you DNS capabilities. CloudFront is your content delivery network distribution, using which you will deliver your content. And your WAF is the Web Application Firewall, and AWS Shield is also one of the security services on AWS. So these are some services which are provided at edge locations, and edge locations are numerous. We have 100+ edge locations across the globe. This is other than your availability zones. If you want to have a look at your management console, let me do that for you. Let me start and see how AWS Management Console looks like.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.